Another WWE draft is in the books, and as usual, we have plenty of movers and stayers. But today we're going to be looking at the movers, and we're going to be rating between A and C whose move was the best and whose moves were the worst. So without further ado, let's get straight into it, and we start off with Seth Rollins, the Monday Night Messiah, moving to SmackDown to be the Friday Night Messiah, I guess. I'm going to give this switch an A-. Pretty pleased Seth Rollins has changed brands, to be honest. He needed a fresh start. I felt everything he did on Raw was stale. But then what do? They go and put Dominic and Ray on. But hopefully he starts a feud with Daniel Bryan now, because that could be class. Next up, AJ Styles. I'm going to give this move a B+. Obviously the reason that he moved is Paul Heyman, and he had something to do with his kids on a Friday, so he can do that. So that's nice. Don't think the move will really make a lot of difference. I think he'll still be in a similar place on the card. Maybe challenging Drew for the world title soon. That would be nice. And Naomi also made the switch to Raw. I'm going to give this a P+. Naomi was just stale on SmackDown. She got lost in the shuffle with everything that's happening with the Bayley and Sasha. So it's nice for her to change brands, and hopefully she can kick on and maybe challenge for the Raw Women's title against the likes of Asuka. Going in the opposite direction, Bianca Belair. I'm going to give this a B. For some reasons, I think it'd be a good move, and some reasons I'm not so sure. I think it's a good move. She really didn't do much on Raw, but she's obviously got the talent, so hopefully SmackDown being a fresh start, that'll give her an advantage. But she'll probably just get lost in the shuffle for the Bayley and Sasha stuff, so I'm really not too sure. The most shocking move of the WWE draft, of course, was Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods to Raw, the SmackDown Tag Team Champions, who just changed belts for some reason, leaving Big E behind. This is getting a C from me. I don't understand why they couldn't have stayed on SmackDown and just gone a bit distance away from Big E. It just made little sense for me. Just seems very strange. Dominic went from Raw to SmackDown. This is getting a C+ from me. I think they would have been better off just staying on Raw, to be honest. Just staying away from Seth Rollins, because let's be honest, that feud ran its course ages ago, and I think they could have really kicked on in their own storyline, maybe going for the tag titles, so I wasn't sure about this. Heading in the opposite direction, Miz and Morrison. I'm going to give this a B. I don't think there was any real need to change it, especially in the middle of that Otis storyline. That seems a bit odd. I wonder if that would see a conclusion. But maybe Raw will be a fresh start for them. But yeah, it did seem a bit of a weird transfer to me. Dana Brooke to Raw, sorry. This is getting a B from me. Really doesn't bother me. I don't think she'll be a major player in the women's division. But Raw's women's division did need bulking up a little bit, to be honest. So I don't really have a problem with her moving to the red brand. Buddy Murphy to SmackDown gets a B-. I think really they should have just drawn a line under the Seth Rollins feud. Season premiere, as it was called. Let's start afresh and do our own sort of stuff. But no, hopefully it just gets over soon and Buddy Murphy can be a really good workhorse, because that's what it is. Drew Gulak to Raw gets a B-. What happened to that stuff with Daniel Bryan? That was very odd. Just petered out, really. And then we got... he's in 24/7 title picture now, so I guess it makes sense to move into Raw, because that's where the 24/7 title is staying, but it gets a B- just because of the Daniel Bryan thing. Tucker is going to Raw, gets a C from me. This just makes literally no sense. Why totally ruin a talent who will never be on TV now? Yeah, it just makes really little sense unless Otis cashes in and goes to Raw, which I would say is unlikely. But yeah, just makes no sense. The Fiend going to Monday Night Raw gets a B+. I think the Fiend was in a bit of a need for a reset, to be honest. Just hasn't really done much since his 1 week Universal title reign, which was just tremendous. So yeah, hopefully a reset, and I'm excited to see him match with Drew McIntyre. That should be class. The Street Profits to SmackDown gets a C from me. Once again, no reason to change it. Just 8 months title reign or whatever it is. You just chuck it away like that. It really is a bit weird, to be honest. They were doing perfectly fine on Raw. New tag teams coming over. Just let it stay as it is, to be honest. No need to change. Braun Strowman going to SmackDown gets an A- for me. Braun Strowman going to Raw, to be honest. He's been featuring on Raw more often anyway recently on Raw Underground, but now that's been cancelled. hopefully he can move on to some new feuds. Definitely needed a switch of brands. Just hope he doesn't feud with the Fiend again, because I really am bored of that feud. Matt Riddle going to Raw gets a C+ from me. There's no reason to change Matt Riddle at the moment. I thought he was doing perfectly fine on SmackDown and could really kick on once he finished that King Corbin feud. But yeah, it is what it is. We've obviously got all of that stuff going on around him, but I hope he can kick on because he's class. Kevin Owens going to SmackDown gets a B from me. No surprise considering he's been on SmackDown a lot recently, facing off against the Fiend and stuff. So yeah, I just hope he can do better on SmackDown. Raw's been very quiet. He had that iffy feud with Aleister Black. So yeah, Jeff Hardy going to Raw was actually a big surprise for me. I'm going to give it a B. I thought maybe his title run with Sami Zayn had more legs still, but clearly that's not what WWE thought. And I suppose moving him isn't the worst idea in the world. Give him a fresh start, see what he can do on a different brand. So yeah, Alexa Bliss going to Raw gets an A- from me. Obviously, the stuff that she's doing with the Fiend at the moment is great, and I'm pleased that she's staying on the same brand as him. Just to continue that, and hopefully she ends up in the Firefly Funhouse at some point. That'd be class. Next up, Elias going to is it SmackDown? No, sorry, Raw gets a B+ from me. I think Raw probably suits his style more. Just more an extra hour to fill more time for his guitar and stuff like that. Concert next week, that should be class. Yeah, so I really enjoyed it. I'm going to give it a B+, to be honest. I think it's a good trade for Raw. Lacey Evans going to Raw gets a B+ from me as well. Good to see more Raw bulking up their women's division, because let's face it, it was in desperate need. It was, well, really, really, really poor, to be honest. Really, under the main sort of people like Nia, Shayna, and Oscar and all of those people. Sheamus also went to Raw. This was a bit of a surprise for me, actually, to be honest. Wasn't expecting it. I'm going to give it a B, to be honest. No reason why he can't do as well. Yeah, so I'm just excited to see what he can do. Nikki Cross going to Raw gets a B+ from me. She's had multiple opportunities at the SmackDown Women's title, and every time it hasn't worked out, so she could do with a fresh start. The one concern is they're taking a lot away from the SmackDown Women's division, so yeah, I hope they can fill that back up. Anyway, it gets a B+ from me. Good to see her continuing the feud with Alexa, and I'm still into that, so yeah. Robert Roode and Dolph Ziggler going to SmackDown gets a B from me. I mean, honestly, who cares? They'll have a little run. Maybe they'll have a couple of shots at the titles. Fail. Next year they'll be back on Raw. They'll probably soon separate. I mean, I'm just lost in the shuffle with these lot. Apollo Crews going to SmackDown gets a C+ from me. There was really no need to change Apollo. He was doing so well compared to where he's been recently on on Raw, with the Hurt Business. There was just no need to change him, so this really confused me. I'm going to give it a C+. Aleister Black going to SmackDown gets a B- for me. I thought after Kevin Owens' feud he could kick on a bit on Raw, but it seems like they're just going to continue that on SmackDown. Just leave the feud alone. They had a great no DQ match a few weeks back on Raw. Just leave it there, and we can move on to the next feud. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, it just made no sense. Natalya going to Raw gets a B from me. Good to see SmackDown bulking up their women's division after losing a lot of mid-carders. And hopefully Natalya, she's been more successful in SmackDown in the past, so hopefully she can do again and just be more than a loser with Lana. The Riot Squad going to SmackDown gets a B- for me. There was no need to change them, really. I think the Raw Tag Team division is mainly on Raw, so there was no need to move them to SmackDown, where realistically they're not going to get a shot at the women's title, and it would have been better off going for the women's tag titles. Anyway, finally, Andrade undrafted gets a C. This was just mental, really. Andrade, who was sort of in the first round last year, can't get a pick now. Hopefully it means he's off to NXT. I mean, there can be no other explanation, because he just deserves better, to be honest. So yeah. But anyway, guys, that's it for this video. Thanks very much for watching. Remember to like, share, subscribe. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Remember to follow me on Twitter, link in the description below, for daily wrestling news, and subscribe to my other channels on screen. That would be greatly appreciated. Thanks very much for watching. Peace.